Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 108 based on novel. So let's start. Bai Wei nodded and respectfully said, "Disciple gives up." Fourth sister, Xiaoin Ming, looked toward Wang Lin with a serious expression and softly said, "Seventh brother, if I were to give up as well, it would be too easy for you to obtain the title. The battle between the two of us will take place today." The image of Chen Dao's fearful eyes appeared in Wang Lin's mind, and he revealed a look of hesitation. "Disciple gives up." Wang Lin took a deep breath and looked toward the All-Seer. The All-Seer was startled. This was the first time Wang Lin had seen that kind of expression on his face. The All-Seer frowned as he looked at Wang Lin and asked, in a serious tone, "Why did you give up?" The calm expression also disappeared from Xiaoin Ming's face and was replaced with a strange expression. She stared at Wang Lin and silently pondered. The look of fear from Chen Dao's face still hadn't left Wang Lin's mind. After hearing the All-Seer's words, he pondered a bit before answering, "Disciple's cultivation level isn't high enough to compete with fourth sisters." Wang Lin. The All-Seer cut Wang Lin off, then he gave him a meaningful look and said, in a serious tone, "Master would like you to try to fight for it once. My disciples should not be cowards. Also, you shouldn't be bewitched by others and have your heart filled with unnecessary things. You just need to remember that you should follow your desires on everything. I'll give you half an incense stick of time to think about it carefully. If you still decide to give up, then I won't stop you." The All-Seer frowned. After that, he looked at Chen Dao, and his expression turned gloomy. When Chen Dao noticed his master's gaze, his heart trembled and he quickly lowered his head. The All-Seer's words landed in the disciples of the other 6 divisions. Their gazes, which were filled with confusion and re-evaluation, all fell on Wang Lin. Because in their eyes, it was extremely rare for their master to try to change someone else's mind. In the purple division, aside from Sun Yun, Wang Lin was the second person this happened to. Half an incense stick of time slowly passed by. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he looked toward the All-Seer, respectfully clasped his hands, and said, "Disciple will fight for it once." The All-Seer revealed a look of joy and nodded. "Good." Xiaoin Ming looked at Wang Lin and softly said, "Seventh brother, let's start." One by one, purple stars suddenly appeared around her and began to orbit around her. Wang Lin stared at the stars. On planet Chen, it seemed like magical treasures weren't used much when fighting, people used spells instead. Although he hadn't fought much since he got here, everyone he met used spells as the main method of attacking. The stars orbiting Xiaoin Ming all began to gather toward her finger as she moved through the air. Almost in the blink of an eye, her entire right arm was covered in a thick, purple light. Even the rest of her body was coated in a layer of purple light, giving her a mysterious feeling. "Seventh brother, I know you don't know what my Dao is, so I'll tell you today. My Dao is the demon's shadow. As long as I've seen a spell once and its requirements are not beyond my cultivation, I can imitate it, though it won't be at full power. This spell is what I created from imitating your demonic finger. I call it the purple demonic hand." As she spoke, she waved her hand forward. The purple light suddenly left her arm and flew toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's body flickered as he quickly backed up. At the same time, he raised his right index finger. The celestial spiritual energy inside his body moved and a purple flame quickly appeared on the tip of his finger. At the moment the flame appeared, a monstrous demonic aura appeared and surrounded the area. "This child, is he really a fit for my Dao? Back then he left me with one phrase. My Dao is the Dao of heaven's fate. Only by finding people who fit my Dao will I have a chance of stepping into the third step." The All-Seer's expression remained normal as he paid extra attention to Wang Lin's right index finger. "If this child really is a fit for my Dao, then I, the All-Seer, am willing to risk it once at any cost. It has been more than 30,000 years since I encountered him, and I have lost a majority of my disciples since then. For me to do this, am I right, am I wrong?" The All-Seer stared at Wang Lin with a melancholy gaze. Wang Lin's eyes were serious as he said, "Demonic finger. The purple flame on his finger suddenly flew out and collided with Xiaoin Ming's purple demonic hand. When the purple stars completely merged with the purple light, a series of crackling and popping sounds could be heard. A mysterious change was happening inside. The demonic energy coming from the light was several times more intense than Wang Lin's demonic finger. This was clearly created due to some mysterious change from the two spells colliding. Xiaoin Ming quickly backed up and slapped her bag of holding, then a pearl appeared in her hand. She revealed a sly look as she softly said, "Gather." After saying that, the demonic energy that was spreading out suddenly paused and began to move toward the pearl in her hand. Soon, all of the demonic energy was completely absorbed by the pearl. The originally white and flawless pearl was now completely dark. It was as if there were vengeful souls inside, and it gave off waves of cold energy. Xiaoin Ming held the pearl and smiled. "Seventh brother, I won't fight you for the title of true disciple, but this demonic energy must belong to me." Wang Lin looked at the pearl and said, with a serious tone, "You created the purple demonic hand to make me use the demonic finger and then absorb the demonic energy from it. Senior apprentice sister, if you had asked me directly, I wouldn't have minded, but now it is impossible for you to obtain that demonic energy." At the moment Wang Lin finished speaking, the demonic energy inside the pearl in Xiaoin Ming's hand quickly disappeared like it was never even there. Soon, the dark pearl turned pure white again. This demonic energy wasn't real demonic energy gained from cultivation but an illusion created from Wang Lin's celestial spiritual energy. As a result, Wang Lin had full control over it, and with just one thought, he could make it disappear. This kind of modifying celestial spiritual energy couldn't be given to others. Otherwise, if one were to study it, they would surely find the method to cultivate the demonic finger. Wang Lin promised Sichu Nan that he would never teach it to anyone else. Xiaoin Ming's expression sunk and her brows knitted tightly together. She looked at the pearl in her hand and crushed it with one squeeze. She then raised her head to look at Wang Lin and softly said, "Seventh brother, I only want a bit of your demonic energy. If you give it to me, I will give up. Otherwise." Wang Lin looked at Xiaoin Ming. Although they had some dealings in the past, they walked their own paths. Wang Lin calmly said, "Fourth sister, I'm unable to help you with this." Xiaoin Ming looked at Wang Lin. Shortly after, she raised her arm and softly said, 9-cycle celestial refining tactic. With that, a powerful, golden light appeared from within Xiaoin Ming's body. At the same time, her face was covered in a golden light, giving off a mysterious feeling. Her right hand was like a golden pillar that gave off waves of golden light. Metal celestial spiritual energy began to slowly appear around her right arm, forming a golden vortex that slowly turned inside her arm. 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles, 4 cycles, 5 cycles. The energy circled a total of 5 times before the golden vortex stopped and began to spin in reverse. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he raised his left hand. The 3-cycle metal celestial spiritual energy that had been restricted in there was suddenly released and gathered in the palm of his hand. A similar-sized vortex appeared on Wang Lin's left hand and began to slowly turn. 1 cycle, 2 cycles, 3 cycles. A look of shock appeared in Xiaoin Ming's eyes. She had only given the 9-cycle celestial refining tactic to Wang Lin a few days ago, but he was able to reach 3 cycles in such a short period of time. This was beyond her expectations. Xiaoin Ming hid the shock in her eyes and calmly said, "Seventh brother, 3 cycles is useless against me." Wang Lin's expression remained the same as the celestial spiritual energy in his body moved. A strand of celestial spiritual energy moved from his body into the 3-cycle metal celestial spiritual energy. The metal celestial spiritual energy shook violently and made another turn. Now it is 4 cycles. With that, another strand of celestial spiritual energy moved through Wang Lin's body and into this left arm. The 4 cycles metal celestial spiritual energy turned again. Now it is 5 cycles. Although Wang Lin's expression was calm, he was experiencing a great amount of pain inside his body. The metal celestial spiritual energy in his left arm was starting to go out of control, but Wang Lin's mental strength was not something Xiaoin Ming could imagine. After all, everything that he experienced on planet Suzaku were things that Xiaoin Ming, a disciple of a big and famous sect, would never have experienced. At this moment, in Xiaoin Ming's eyes, Wang Lin's expression was calm and his demeanor was normal, not revealing the slightest hint of anything wrong. Wang Lin faintly smiled as he looked at Xiaoin Ming and said, "Could it be that you want to see my 6-cycle metal celestial spiritual energy?" Xiaoin Ming's expression sunk. She looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Even if you have the power of 6 cycles, you are still not my match." Wang Lin laughed, then he slapped his bag of holding and the giant demon clan's axe flew out in a ray of black light and floated in the air. At the same time, the beast trap from Wang Lin's wrist flew out and turned into the war chariot. Would I be a match if I added these two? Xiaoin Ming looked at Wang Lin. After pondering for a while, she suddenly smiled and softly said, "I underestimated you. 7th brother, I give up." With that, she moved back to where the Purple Division disciples were. However, just at this moment, a ray of purple light suddenly rushed over from the horizon. The disciples of the other 6 divisions looked into the distance at the ray of purple light. More than half of them made a weird face after seeing the purple light. The All-Seer's expression remained the same. He didn't even look at the purple light, he had his hands behind his back and his face was calm. The purple light rushed over and stopped 1,000 feet away, revealing a middle-aged man inside. This person's cheeks were pale and very skinny, he looked like sharp longsword that gave off a cold aura. This aura was very similar to the aura of the disciples of Sword Saint Ling Qianhu. He was wearing a purple robe, his clothes were almost exactly the same as Wang Lin's and Bai Wei's. He stood there as he clasped his hands at the All-Seer and said, "Disciple Chen Dao greets Master." "It's him." Bai Wei's eyes became serious. A complex expression flashed across her eyes as 4th sister Xiaoin Ming also stared at this person. The Purple Division's 6th brother. The holder of the True Disciple title before Sun Yun. It is said that he followed Master for a very long time. When he lost to Sun Yun, he left the Heavenly Fate sect to train himself outside. Waves of soft discussion came from the disciples of the other 6 divisions. The All-Seer's gaze fell on Chen Dao. He revealed a look of admiration and said, "You were able to make it back. Very good." Chen Dao had a stoic expression as he said, "Disciple originally wasn't going to be late, but when I passed Planet Black Ink, I saw a rare treasure there. I wanted to give it to Master as a gift and was thus delayed." The All-Seer laughed and asked, "What kind of treasure caught your eye?" Chen Dao's expression was calm as he slapped his bag of holding and an item appeared in his hand. This item was a flower with 6 colors. The flower itself was white, but the 6 leaves were red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, and yellow. The 6 different colors did not make the white flower look out of place. Instead, they gave it an out-of-this-world feel. Chen Dao sent the flower forward and respectfully said, "It is because of this mysterious flower. Disciples' knowledge isn't enough, so I am unable to recognize what this flower is. But on Planet Black Ink, there were 3 high-quality desolate beasts fighting over it. Disciple was curious, so I took it." The flower slowly flew toward the All-Seer and stopped before him. The All-Seer looked at the flower, pondered a bit, and said, "This flower is called the 7-colored glaze. It takes 10 years for it to take root, 100 years for the leaves to grow, 1,000 years for it to bud, and 10,000 years for it to bloom. Every time it blooms, it releases 1 color until it has bloomed 6 times. On the 7th bloom, it releases a 7-colored light. Beasts love this flower, and if a beast were to devour it when it releases the 7-colored light, it would benefit a lot. It is considered a heavenly treasure. I believe it is ranked 93rd by the Cultivation Alliance. Elder Sun, am I correct?" As the All-Seer spoke, he looked toward Elder Sun. Elder Sun faintly smiled and nodded. "That is correct. It is the 7-colored glaze, but it's not complete yet and hasn't formed the last leaf. However, with the All-Seer's spell, it won't take long for its 7th leaf to form as well." The All-Seer raised his right hand and caught the flower, then he smiled and said, "Okay, I'll accept this." Chen Dao's eyes lit up. He then looked at the 3 Purple Division disciples and calmly said, "It looks like my Purple Division is becoming smaller and smaller. Bai Wei, Xiaoin Ming, how have you guys been?" Bai Wei's expression was a bit unnatural. He didn't say anything. As for Xiaoin Ming, she revealed a complex expression. She sighed and said, "I just knew that you would definitely return for Master's birthday celebration." Chen Dao looked at Xiaoin Ming before taking a glance at Wang Lin and then no longer paid any more attention to Wang Lin. "Where is Sun Yun?" Xiaoin Ming let out a sigh and sent out a voice transmission. Chen Dao's expression sank. He jerked his head to look at Xiaoin Ming before sweeping his gaze toward Wang Lin and saying, "You are seventh brother? Speak your name." "Wang Lin." Wang Lin's eyes were calm. From the moment Chen Dao appeared, he wasn't hiding his cultivation. Wang Lin could vaguely see that his cultivation was past the soul transformation stage and should be at the ascendant stage. As for which stage of ascendant, Wang Lin wasn't able to tell. "You aren't worthy of being my seventh brother. Sun Yun is my only seventh brother." Chen Dao's expression was calm as he moved his gaze away from Wang Lin. The All-Seer was still observing his disciples. He smiled but didn't speak. Chen Dao looked at the All-Seer with respect and decisively said, "Master, disciple came back this time because I wanted to regain my title of true disciple. I hope Master can agree." The All-Seer faintly smiled and said, "Right now, in the purple division, only you and your seventh brother have the right to the title of true disciple. Between the two of you, only one will get it." Chen Dao revealed a chilly smile and took a step forward. With one step, he was able to arrive before Wang Lin. His hand moved faster than lightning as he threw out a seal that arrived 1 foot away from Wang Lin. A series of thunderous roars could be heard as Wang Lin's body quickly backed up and the giant demon clan axe appeared before him to block the force of the seal. At the same time, the metal celestial spiritual energy on his left arm was used, and that was how he was able to stabilize himself after backing up a few dozen feet. He stood there and stared at Chen Dao with a gloomy expression. Wang Lin had been on guard the whole time. The attack earlier wasn't to attack him but to shock him. Even though the attack landed in the air, the shockwave was able to knock him away. Wang Lin clearly couldn't compete with this kind of power. Wang Lin didn't know that Chen Dao was even more shocked. The spell he used just now was very powerful, and even though it didn't land directly, the shockwave should have been able to send a brat merely at the mid-stage of soul transformation flying hundreds of feet. In the end, he should have been able to suppress Wang Lin and wouldn't have to do any more to obtain the title of true disciple. But he only caused Wang Lin to back up a few dozen feet. Not only did this not suppress him, it made it look like he pushed Wang Lin away because he wanted to battle. Chen Dao frowned as he coldly looked at Wang Lin and said, in tone that Wang Lin couldn't refuse, "You, give up." As Wang Lin looked at Chen Dao, his gaze gradually became cold. This person's overbearance was extremely obvious. He raised his left hand and sent out the 5-cycle metal celestial spiritual energy. The 5-cycle metal celestial spiritual energy spun as it shot out. In almost the blind of an eye, it arrived before Chen Dao. Chen Dao looked at it and softly said, "This is not how you use this spell." With that, he pointed his right finger forward and then the vortex of metal celestial spiritual energy suddenly stopped and released waves of loud, humming sounds. Chen Dao flicked the golden vortex, causing it to spin once and the power to increase even more. It had clearly reached 6 cycles. Chen Dao didn't stop and flicked it 3 more times. An aura that felt like it could destroy the heavens and earth spread out from the golden vortex. At this moment, the vortex reached its limit of 9 cycles. Chen Dao raised his head and looked at Wang Lin with disdain. He pressed his right hand forward, causing the golden vortex to change directions and charge toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's face was gloomy as he quickly backed up. He grabbed the axe, jumped into the air, and swung the axe down. After a thunderous roar, a ray of axe energy more than 10 feet tall came out from the axe and descended on the golden vortex. After the axe energy landed on the golden vortex, it caused it slow down for a bit, but it was still rushing toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin felt danger closing in, but he didn't panic at all. He raised his hand into the air and slashed it across the sky. Silver light suddenly appeared above the golden vortex, and at the same time, the teleportation skill was used by Wang Lin. However, his target wasn't himself but the golden vortex covered by the silver light. Wang Lin formed teleportation spells one by one and in the blink of an eye it was all complete. He softly said, "Greater teleportation." At the moment he spoke, the golden vortex was already 3 feet away from him, so he could feel its destructive aura. However, he didn't have a trace of panic on his face. The 9-cycled vortex quickly closed in, but when it was 1 foot away from Wang Lin, the silver light surrounding it began to flash violently. Then it disappeared as if it never existed. This scene caused all of the surrounding cultivators' gazes to become focused. A hint of admiration appeared in the All-Seer's eyes and he nodded. Chen Dao's eyes lit up. He no longer underestimated Wang Lin like before. All of this happened in a short period of time. Almost at the same moment the vortex disappeared, Wang Lin put the axe away. His hand formed a seal, which he threw toward the war chariot not far away, and he said, "Spirit beast, appear." Earlier, Chen Dao only took a glance at the war chariot and didn't pay much attention to it. Now he suddenly turned his head toward it as a monstrous, unyielding aura spread out from it. At the same time, the giant spirit beast quickly condensed and released a thunderous roar. This roar pierced the heavens. All of the disciples of the other 6 divisions were shocked. They had never seen a treasure like this before, so after hearing the unyielding roar, Wang Lin's position in their hearts went up by 1 step. Even some of the guests revealed mysterious lights in their eyes. Even some of the old monsters revealed pondering expressions. Even Sword Saint Ling Qian who revealed a look of shock when the spirit beast appeared. Wang Lin floated in the air and shouted, "Devour him!" The spirit beast let out roar as it charged forward. Its speed was extremely fast, and it was charging toward Chen Dao. A hint of battle intent appeared in Chen Dao's eyes, and his hand formed a seal. In an instant, a purple ball suddenly appeared in his hand, and at the moment the spirit beast arrived, the purple ball in Chen Dao's hand collapsed. With a boom, the shockwave caused most of the surrounding cultivators' ears to hurt. Chen Dao stood there unmoving, but there were many holes on his clothes, making him look very disheveled. As for the spirit beast, it was pushed back several hundred feet. It shook its body and then let out another roar and charged again like crazy. This time several chains appeared on its body, and they were pulled completely straight. One end of the chains were connected to its body and the other to the war chariot. The battle intent in Chen Dao's eyes became even stronger as he laughed. "What a good beast. It is interesting." With that, he simply tore off the top half of his clothes and exposed his upper body. He slapped his bag of holding and a long, black rope appeared in his hand. This rope was like a living creature. The moment it appeared, there was a fishy smell, and it emitted a desolate aura. "Beast, my earth dragon tendon survived on a demonic planet by itself for 500 years. It was extracted from a dead demonic dragon. I want to see if you can escape from this dragon tendon." With that, he took a step forward and swung the dragon tendon directly at the spirit beast, all while ignoring Wang Lin. The spirit beast let out a roar and charged out. It dodged the dragon tendon, appeared next to Chen Dao in an instant and attempted to devour him. Chen Dao let out a laugh, then his body flickered and he moved out of the way. He moved the dragon tendon at an impossible angle and wrapped it around the spirit beast's neck in an instant. At the same time, Chen Dao moved himself on top of the spirit beast's head. He viciously grabbed the dragon tendon and said, "Beast, I want to see where you're going to run to now." Wang Lin's expression was still calm. He raised his hand and started making seals, then he pointed at the war chariot and softly said, "War chariot, 5th seal, release." With that, a flash of black light appeared in Wang Lin's hand, and at the same time, the giant spirit beast suddenly trembled. Shortly after, a never-before-seen fierceness appeared in the spirit beast's eyes. It suddenly raised its head and let out a fierce roar. Not only did this roar contain its unyielding nature, it was filled with the joy of being released after being trapped for tens of thousands of years. Back when Wang Lin obtained the war chariot, he also got the inheritance to use it properly. However, he was too weak, and it was more likely for it to devour him before even injuring the enemy. That's why Wang Lin had never opened the seals on the war chariot. Today was the first time he opened the first of the 5 seals, causing its power to increase drastically. The god-slaying war chariot was something that could slay celestial gods, so how could it be so weak? Once all 5 seals have been released, its power will be unimaginable. However, with Wang Lin's current cultivation, even just opening the first seal was very dangerous. If he couldn't control it, then what awaited him was the backlash from the war chariot. However, because his cultivation had reached the mid-stage of soul transformation, he had some confidence, or else he wouldn't have so easily decided to release the seal. Not only did the aura of the spirit beast change when the first seal was released, but the fierce spikes on the chariot itself also began to change. Those spikes began to move and grew even longer, making them look even fiercer than before. There were also waves of black light coming from the spikes. The black light moved along the chains and entered the spirit beast's body. The spirit beast let out a crazy roar, and its body suddenly grew several times larger, from few dozen feet to few hundred feet. It stood there as a towering beast and violently shook its body. For the first time, Chen Dao, who was standing on it, suddenly had a change of expression. Waves of black light came out from the spirit beast and rushed toward Chen Dao. Chen Dao held the dragon tendon with one hand and formed a seal with this other hand as balls of purple light appeared around him. As the black light rushed in, the balls of purple light all collapsed. Among the thunderous explosions, Chen Dao let out a muffled groan. At this moment, the spirit beast's giant body was covered by the black light. Then the spirit beast suddenly scattered into rays of black light as if its body had collapsed. In the end, there was only the dragon tendon holding nothing, and Chen Dao, who had an ugly expression on his face. Before him were rays of black light spinning in a circle. In almost the blink of an eye, the rays of black light reformed into the giant spirit beast 100 feet away from Chen Dao. After opening the first seal, the spirit beast no longer relied solely on devouring to attack, it could now use some of its innate abilities. Although Chen Dao's expression was ugly, the battle intent in his eyes became even stronger. He suddenly turned around to look at Wang Lin and gloomily said, "Junior apprentice brother, you now have the qualifications to be my junior apprentice brother. However, those qualifications have a price." Wang Lin stared at Chen Dao and slowly said, "You don't have the qualifications to be my senior apprentice brother." Chen Dao looked at Wang Lin, laughed, and said, "Fighting this beast is going to waste a bit of time, but as long as I capture you, this beast won't be able to run." The opponent was an ascendant cultivator, so Wang Lin knew that he wasn't a match, but he couldn't just give up like this. Even if he loses, he wanted this person to know that he shouldn't be messed with. At this moment, Chen Dao rushed over. Wang Lin's expression was calm, and he didn't move at all. Instead, he raised his right hand. This time, he extended his pinky. Sichu Nan hesitated for a very long time before finally teaching Wang Lin the last of his 3 killing spells. Sichu Nan told him in a very serious tone not to casually use this spell before he reaches the late stage of soul transformation. If he tries to use it at the early stage of soul transformation, before it even harms the enemy, he will experience backlash that an early stage soul transformation cultivator can't withstand. Only after reaching the mid-stage of soul transformation can he barely use it, but he shouldn't use its full power, or else he will still suffer from backlash. Even at the late stage of soul transformation, he will have to be careful when using this 3rd killing spell. Only after he reaches the ascendant stage can he use this spell as he wishes. Wang Lin's right pinky pointed at Chen Dao. At this moment, there was no celestial spiritual energy left in his body, and even his life aura was slowly disappearing. There was now no life left in his body. This scene shocked a majority of the surrounding cultivators. Even the All-Seer's eyes became serious as he took a closer look. Sword Saint Ling Qianhu stared at Wang Lin and revealed a mysterious smile. This child is not bad. Of the surrounding cultivators, there was a red-faced old man with a giant red gourd behind his back. He let out an alcoholic burp as he looked at Wang Lin and muttered, "Why does this spell look exactly the same as the one used by that madman I met on the way here?" When Chen Dao was 5 feet away from Wang Lin, he was suddenly overcome with a feeling of danger that he hadn't felt in a very long time. The last time he felt this was when he was facing some old masters. At this moment, all of Wang Lin's life aura disappeared. Only his eyes were bright, but they were filled with the coldness of death. This gaze caused Chen Dao to be shocked. What kind of gaze is this? Even those that cultivate the ruthless Dao can't have this kind of gaze. Wang Lin softly said, "Underworld finger?" Underworld Finger was the last of Sichu Nan's killing spells. Cultivating this spell is not like the other two spells, both of which can be learned through comprehension. This third spell can only be learned after cultivating the Underworld Ascension method and using it to enter the Underworld. Only after experiencing the transition between life and death can one comprehend this spell. Back then, Sichu Nan was able to gain enlightenment in the transition between life and death while cultivating the Underworld Ascension method, then he combined it with the Celestial spell to create this killing spell. Sichu Nan once proudly bragged that although the power of this spell wasn't as strong as that broken Celestial spells, it couldn't be far off. It is because of this that this spell requires one to reach the Ascendant stage before they can freely use it. With a point of his pinky, the sky suddenly darkened and streaks of lightning suddenly flew across it. At the same time, the sky seemed to be opened by a pair of giant hands, and a giant mountain and river scroll appeared in the sky. This Underworld Finger activated Wang Lin's domain. Waves of grey gas came out of the scroll like crazy and began to gather at an unimaginable speed, forming a second Underworld Finger. Some of the surrounding cultivators exclaimed, "Life and death domain." At this moment, all of the cultivators' gazes landed on Wang Lin. The two Underworld Fingers moved extremely quickly toward Chen Dao. The battle intent in Chen Dao's eyes intensified as his body flickered and he raised both of his hands. Two separate half-moon-shaped golden lights appeared in his palms. At the moment the Underworld Fingers arrived, he blocked both of them. A heaven-shattering sound echoed from before Chen Dao's body. The sky seemed to be torn by a tornado, and the life and death domain disappeared. Wang Lin's body backed up several dozen feet and then he backed up another several hundred feet before he coughed out a mouthful of blood. The celestial spiritual energy in his body was a complete mess as he looked up at Chen Dao and gloomily said, "I give up." As for Chen Dao, his expression was normal as he withdrew his arms and looked at Wang Lin with an indifferent gaze. The battle intent in his eyes didn't lessen but became even stronger as he said, in a serious tone, "Once you reach the Ascendant stage, you and I will battle again, seventh brother." Chen Dao took a deep breath and suppressed the violent celestial spiritual energy in his body. Wang Lin's attack was completely outside of Chen Dao's expectations. If it wasn't for the fact that he encountered some good fortune on the way back and reached the mid-stage of Ascendant, even though he could have withstood the blow, he would have definitely been injured. The All-Seer looked at Wang Lin. The admiration in his eyes became even stronger and he smiled. "Both of you belong to the Purple Division and are both my disciples, so don't hold a grudge against each other. Chen Dao, you won today, so you will be the Purple Division's true disciple." With that, the All-Seer pointed to the spot between his eyebrows and a crystal-clear purple crystal appeared from his forehead and landed in his hand. He then threw the crystal. It flew in a ray of purple light toward Chen Dao and entered the spot between Chen Dao's eyebrows. The All-Seer slowly said, "This isn't your first time obtaining the title, so slowly comprehend it yourself." Chen Dao took a deep breath, gave the All-Seer a deep bow, and respectfully said, "Disciple thanks Master." The All-Seer nodded, then his gaze fell on the surrounding cultivators. He clasped his hands and gently said, "Everyone, my birthday celebration is now considered finished. Fellow cultivators, if you don't have important matters to attend to, please rest at my Heavenly Fate sect for a few more days so we may talk about Dao and compare our understanding." Many of the surrounding cultivators responded politely, but almost all of them left immediately. In one day of time, tens of thousands of rays of light flew out of the Heavenly Fate sect and into the distance. Sword Saint Ling Qianhu let out a smile as he took a step and turned into a ray of light, flying off into the distance. As he flew away, he said, "Old man All-Seer, as per our promise, 3 months from now we will meet outside the gate to the East Demon Spirit Sea. You better have the people you will send in picked." The All-Seer's eyes became serious and he nodded. He turned toward Wang Lin and said, "Wang Lin, follow me to worship the ancestral spirit. Afterward, Master will teach you a forbidden spell and give you a life-saving treasure. After that you will be considered a real disciple under me." Wang Lin respectfully responded and his eyes lit up. Forbidden spell. Only after truly becoming a disciple of the All-Seer and worshipping the ancestral spirit can one study the forbidden spell that the All-Seer created from imitating a celestial spell. This is an opportunity that tens of thousands of people wished for. The All-Seer waved his sleeves and a seven-colored cloud appeared. The cloud wrapped around Wang Lin and took him away toward the main sect. Wang Lin was inside the cloud as it moved through the blue sky. The mountain and rivers under his feet passed by in a flash. After several breaths of time, the seven-colored cloud passed the various divisions of the Heavenly Fate sect and arrived outside the main sect. What appeared before Wang Lin was a world even more majestic than the celestial realm. 3 towering mountains extended above the clouds. The mountain in the middle was snow-white. When the sunlight hit the mountain, it created a blinding glare that caused anyone who looked at it to feel dizzy. There was greenery scattered all over the mountain, making it look even more magnificent. There was no road on the mountain, it was purely snow-white. This snow was 9 ghost snow, which won't melt for 10,000 years. It would be impossible for a mortal to get close, because if they came within 1,000 feet of the snow, their body would completely freeze. While Wang Lin was inside the seven-colored cloud, he could clearly feel the cold aura moving outside the cloud. Aside from the middle mountain, which was completely white, the other 2 mountains on the sides were black. Compared with the pure white of the mountain in the middle, this kind of black gave off a powerful sense of contrast. One by one the black snowflakes fell on the 2 mountains like they would never end. From a distance, the scene before him didn't look real, it was as if someone had used the power of the heavens and earth to draw a very striking black and white mountain and river painting. As Wang Lin took a meaningful look at the Heavenly Fate sect's main sect, his eyes gradually calmed down from the initial shock. The All-Seer waved his sleeves and the 7-colored cloud surrounding them suddenly disappeared. After the cloud disappeared, the cold aura rushed in and tried to invade Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin's expression remained normal as the celestial spiritual energy inside his body moved, creating a light screen outside his body. The cold aura circled around the light screen for a bit before disappearing. The All-Seer had his hand behind his back as he looked at the 3 mountains and asked, "Wang Lin, what do you think about this place?" Wang Lin pondered a bit and then slowly said, "This place has a very powerful cold aura and is a great place to cultivate anything that requires cold and yin energy." The All-Seer faintly smiled and said, "Is that all?" Wang Lin lowered his head and respectfully said, "Disciple isn't knowledgeable enough to see any more." The All-Seer shook his head, then he looked at Wang Lin with a smile that was not a smile and said, "I always decide which forbidden spell each student will learn, but if you can see through the mysteries of this mountain, teacher will break the rules and let you choose whichever spell you want." "Wang Lin, are you tempted?" Wang Lin raised his head, looked at the All-Seer with a gentle expression, and said, "Since teacher orders it, how would disciple dare to not follow?" He pointed at the black mountain on the left with this right hand and said, "This mountain is completely black, even the snow that falls on it is black. However, this black snow is not cold, so when compared to the white snow in the middle, it gives off a strange atmosphere." The All-Seer's expression remained normal as he smiled and said, "Oh? Continue." Wang Lin pointed at the mountain on the right and said, "This mountain is even stranger, as I can detect a hint of life from it. Although almost everything has life, this is the first time disciple has felt the life of a mountain." The All-Seer's expression was still calm as he smiled and said, "Is that all? If this is all, you still don't have the right to pick a forbidden spell from Master." Wang Lin faintly smiled as he shook his head and said, "Master, those 2 mountains are fake." After he said that, a hint of shock appeared in the All-Seer's eyes. He took another look at Wang Lin before letting out a laugh. He waved his sleeves and took the 2 of them toward the middle mountain at lightning speed. This child's mental strength is far above others. To be able to find clues about my spell at the mid-stage of soul transformation is very rare. Wang Lin's expression was very normal, but his heart was shaking. When he saw the 3 mountains, a very old memory from ancient god Tusai appeared in his mind. That was the 9th time Tusai had refined a treasure, and it was the last time he did. This treasure was a trident. Tusai searched for endless amounts of materials before he finally finished refining it. He was very satisfied with the treasure, but it only took physical shape, it had no soul. Therefore, Tusai dripped some of his ancient god blood on it, threw it toward a big planet, and the trident turned into 3 heaven-piercing mountains. This way, the trident would become a mountain and slowly form a mountain soul. After that, he left. According to Tu Sai's plan, once he finished training his technique, he would come back to get the treasure. At that time, the mountain should have formed and he would have a top-quality treasure. The 3 mountains created by the trident were almost exactly the same as the 3 mountains Wang Lin was looking at now. But he immediately discarded the idea that this was the trident, because it was indeed, as he said earlier, 2 of the mountains were fake. However, the All-Seer's cultivation is heavenly. If he were to hide it, then it would be impossible for me to see through it at my current cultivation level. Wang Lin cleared his mind when they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Wang Lin, Master will wait for you up there. You can't use teleportation, and the faster you get up there, the better the reward will be. It won't be hard for you with your cultivation to travel 100 steps, but the 100 steps at the top will depend on your fortune. The 100 steps at the top are what Master calls the shattered land of the Celestials. The All-Seer turned around, took a step, and disappeared without a trace before Wang Lin. Wang Lin raised his head to look at the white mountain peak. There was an endless amount of white snow falling. If one looked up for too long, they would feel the illusion that countless sharp and white swords were coming down. After withdrawing his gaze, Wang Lin didn't immediately ascend the mountain but sat down to cultivate. After 1 incense stick of time, he opened his eyes. His eyes were completely calm. He then stood up and began to walk to the peak step by step. The cold wind howled and the snow chilled him to the bones. As Wang Lin walked, the cold aura got even stronger, and the cold wind howled loudly and continued to blow on Wang Lin. There would be no footprints when one stepped on the white snow. The entire mountain was like a giant, white crystal. If a mortal had a treasure to protect them from the cold, they would have no way to continue, because there was no place for them to get a foothold. But for Wang Lin, his feet never touched the mountain. He floated 3 inches above the mountain's surface as he worked his way up. It wasn't impossible to use teleportation here, but since the All-Seer said that this was a test, then using teleportation would mean he failed the test. This is why Wang Lin didn't teleport but calmly walked up the mountain step by step. The howl of the cold wind filled his ears, and the shining, white snow glared before him. Outside of his body was the cold aura that continued to try to invade him, and below his feet was an icy surface that one would slip on the moment they landed on it. Nevertheless, this kind of test was not something Wang Lin couldn't handle. Back in the land of the ancient god, he went through many places like this. Time slowly passed. As he got closer to the top, the cold aura became even stronger and the light around Wang Lin's body became even brighter. When he was 100 steps from the top, he stopped and didn't continue to move forward. He let out a deep breath, and at the moment he let it out, there were a series of crackling sounds. The breath was frozen into specks of ice 3 inches away from his mouth and gave off a crisp crackling sound. At the same time, the cold aura rushed into his mouth and nose. The aura only slowly disappeared with the help of the celestial spiritual energy inside his body. Wang Lin raised his head. 100 steps away, at the peak of the mountain, there was a tower covered in snow. The tower was giving off a 7-colored light and looked very beautiful. Shattered land of the Celestials? Wang Lin's eyes became cold. After pondering for a while, he descended. For the first time since he arrived, his 2 feet stepped on the mountain. At the moment his 2 feet touched the mountain, he felt like there was no friction at all. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he let out a cold snort and his right foot took a normal step forward. But with a boom, Wang Lin's right foot smashed 1 inch into the ground and created a solid foothold. Just at this moment, an unimaginably cold aura came from the ground. This cold aura was several times colder than what he had experienced before. The aura entered his body through his foot and rushed toward his chest through his veins. But just as the cold aura was moving through Wang Lin's body, a divine sense suddenly came from Wang Lin's origin soul. When this divine sense swept through his body, the cold aura strangely calmed down and moved back through his right foot to return to the mountain. This cold aura isn't colder than my heart. If it can't freeze my heart, how could it freeze my soul, my body? This is a joke. Wang Lin sneered as he took another step. The coldness on his face became the coldest thing on the mountain. The cold wind disappeared 3 inches away from him, and the cold snow disappeared 3 inches away from the top of his head. Wang Lin imprinted his foot into the mountain step by step as he walked directly toward the peak. This video will end here.